This week in Jamaica Now, from church to the jail. A week after he said farewell to his wife, former MP Jolyan Silvera has been charged with her murder. Breakthrough, a gangster linked to the alleged murder and burial of a pair of Westmoreland siblings shot dead. A mother seen in a video stepping on the neck of her teen daughter has been nabbed. And
the issue at play here is whether or not we're going to do this in a local government election. No.
Halted. Prime Minister puts brakes on making Portmore into a parish before local government elections due next month. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. A week ago, this was former PNP Member of Parliament Jolyan Silvera weeping at his wife's funeral at the St. Andrew Parish Church. A week later, Mr. Silvera was taken away by the police in handcuffs. He was charged on Friday for murdering his 42-year-old spouse. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says the police acted after a ruling from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
The investigation continues as we believe that there are other charges that will be laid against Mr. Silvera.
Now, initial reports were that Melissa died in her sleep at their home in St. Andrew on November 10 last year of natural causes, a month shy of her 8th wedding anniversary. An autopsy performed 3 weeks after her death unearthed at least 3 bullet fragments in her body, causing the police to upgrade the case to a murder investigation. The police questioned Mr. Silvera on 2 previous occasions as part of their probe. At the time, Mr. Silvera's attorney Peter Champagny said his client was not being treated as a suspect. Mr. Silvera's licensed firearm was seized for ballistic testing. A motive has still not been established in the murder of 63-year-old paralegal Sandra Foster, who was shot while driving along Washington Boulevard in St. Andrew on Thursday morning. But the police say widely circulated claims that Ms. Foster's slaying was linked to a family dispute is among several theories being pursued. Ms. Foster was employed to the St. Andrew-based law firm Nunez Schofield Delian & Company for almost 36 years. King's Counsel Patrick Foster, who is a partner at the firm, said based on his information, the attack had nothing to do with what she was doing at the firm. He said Ms. Foster was extremely competent and hardworking. Ms. Foster was on her way to work when she was shot multiple times by men on a bike. A motorist in the morning rush hour on the major thoroughfare captured some of the aftermath of the incident. A reputed gangster who the police claim was implicated in the killing and video-recorded burial of a pair of siblings in Westmoreland last year was shot dead in confrontation with the security forces in St. Catherine on Thursday.
On Thursday, the 18th of January 2024, during an armed confrontation with the police, 2 persons were fatally shot. One of them has been identified as Christopher Shield, OC Gang Bang. The incident started in Spanish Town and during a running gun battle which culminated in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. The persons were shot and killed after they engaged the police. 2 9mm pistols were recovered and a quantity of ammunition. Gangbang is considered to be a prolific contract killer. He has been involved in several incidents of murder over a period of time.
The operation was driven by intelligence and carried out by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Branch of the police force. 20-year-old Kerrick Moody and his 25-year-old sister Kenisha Moody were identified by their mother after a video that went viral on social media last December showed them being buried in a shallow grave. It is suspected that they were killed over a dispute involving money from the lottery scam. Rashelle Foster, the woman charged for the 2019 stabbing death of 23-year-old national footballer Tarania Clarke, has been found guilty of manslaughter. The unanimous verdict was handed down Thursday by a 7-member jury in the Home Circuit Court in Kingston. The 25-year-old defendant, who was being tried for murder, was remanded for sentencing on February 29 by Justice Leighton Pusey. The prosecution led evidence during the trial, which started on January 8, that on October 31, 2019, both women had a dispute over a cellular phone in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, when a knife was used to stab Miss Clarke, otherwise called Plum Plum. However, Miss Foster maintained that Miss Clarke was accidentally stabbed and that she had reached for her knife in self-defense. The police are questioning the mother of the girl who was seen being stomped on in a now viral video. And the Child Protection and Family Services Agency says it has located the 15-year-old girl and she's now in the care of her father. She's receiving medical attention at the hospital. Chief Executive Officer of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Laurette Adams-Thomas, said the agency will continue to follow up with the child to offer psychosocial, psychological and any other forms of necessary intervention. The Supreme Court has ruled that Barita Investments Limited must comply with an Integrity Commission IC request for financial information on 151 current and former public officials. Justice Chester Stamp handed down the decision on Wednesday. Another entity, First Global Bank, FGB, agreed during the proceedings to comply. They have since provided the information. The Commission sought the court's intervention in November 2021 after FGB and Barita refused to comply with a June 2021 request. The Commission's Director of Information and Complaints, Craig Beresford, said he was seeking the information from them as part of his lawful duty to make inquiries to certify or determine the accuracy of information that the officials submitted in their statutory declarations of their income, assets and liabilities. The institutions had expressed deep concerns about the legality of the request and fears of breaching privacy and confidentiality agreements with their customers under the Banking Services Act. The list includes politicians, senior members of parish authorities, and members of the security forces. And the Constitutional Court ruled this week that 6 sections of Jamaica's DNA law are in breach of several constitutional rights guaranteed to citizens, but those infringements are demonstrably justified. The landmark decision ended separate lawsuits filed by Bronton Johnson, who was accused of rape, and Jaleel Forbes, who was accused of murder. The court said the relevant sections of the DNA Act are proportional to the legitimate aim of the state to conduct criminal investigations and prosecute offenders in an efficient manner. In an apparent about-turn, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced that his administration will not proceed with efforts to name Portmore, Jamaica's 15th parish before the upcoming local government elections. Mr. Holness made the disclosure on January 17.
All we are trying to do is to move to the logical next step. That's it. So there's nothing to fear. So the issue at play here is whether or not we're going to do this in a local government election. No. I said it Sunday, I'll say it again, please. Our bill is ready to go to Parliament, that we were ready for a little while now. We will not take it to Parliament. We will probably go to Parliament, we will take it, but we will not pass it. Because there is no way that we could seek to establish a parish and it be clouded in political accusations. No.
The decision marks a reversal from recent posturing from Cabinet Minister Everett Warmington, who had declared on a political platform late last year that the establishment of Portmore as a parish was expected to give the ruling Jamaica Labour Party control of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. Although Portmore is a municipality, it is still within the parish of St. Catherine, whose municipality is controlled by the opposition People's National Party. Now, the PNP has resisted the government's approach to the process, declaring that altering electoral boundaries without the input of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica would overturn decades of convention. Opposition MP for St. Catherine Southern, Fitz Jackson, had threatened legal action if the government went ahead with using its parliamentary majority to push the Portmore Parish Bill through Parliament. Meanwhile, the JLP leader Andrew Holness declared on January 14 that his party's political machinery is ready for local government elections that are due by February 28. Mr. Holness's comments were based on reports submitted by senior officers of the party during Sunday's meeting of the Central Executive. There was no indication when a date for the elections will be announced. Local government elections, which are constitutionally due every 4 years, were last held in November 2016. They were due to be held in November 2020, but were postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, although general elections were held in September that year. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz outlines his plans for the development of downtown Kingston.
There is definitively need for some changes to be made here logistically to have the place more customer friendly. I can see right away the need for railing, the need for covering, the need for seats, and a reorganization of these bays. Not to mention signage. These are all very low-hanging fruits that don't require a significant amount of funding. While we wait on the buses that I have committed to come, the 100 new buses, which I'll speak more about as soon as I have the final approval in the next few weeks. But that will do one thing, which is to have more frequency of buses. Because again, just similar to the tour that I did the other day, you're talking about buses that are leaving from here and going to Spanish Town and Portmore. Coming back pretty much empty. But you're talking about an hour and a half turnaround time without peak traffic, and in peak hour, 2.5 hours. So the only thing that can fix that is an injection of buses. But while we are working on that, we must consider the comfort and the safety of passengers. And the way that these laybys are, once the bus is in the bay, there's really nowhere for the people to queue. There's nowhere for them to sit, especially the elderly, and there's nowhere for them to protect themselves from the elements of sun and rain. We can do better, and we will do better.